The story of Ludwig van Beethoven, the value of giving. Long ago, Beethoven family lived in Germany. The family liked to sing and play instruments. So when Beethoven has a son, they wanted him to be a musician too. Ludwig's grandfather used to take him for walks. One day they went into a church and sat down and waited. Suddenly the church was filled with a wondrous sound. "What is it?" whispered Ludwig. "The organ," his grandfather answered. Then a rich voice rang out. "And that is your father," said grandfather. "He could be a great musician if he didn't drink so much." One day, Ludwig saw a peculiar instrument in the house. He touched the keys. "It's wonderful," cried Ludwig. When Ludwig realized his father was behind him, he was startled. "I'm sorry, father," he said. "When I touched the keys, the beautiful sound came out. I couldn't stop." For once, his father didn't shout. It is clavier. "I'll teach you to play it," he said. But really, he was thinking a young musician named Mozart. Mozart was a child prodigy and made a lot of money. "I'll make sure that Ludwig becomes a prodigy too," he thought. At about 10, he started composing his own music. By 1782, when Ludwig was 12, some of his compositions were published. As a teenager, Ludwig played clavier in the court orchestra. "There's still so much I don't know," he thought. "I want to go to Vienna and study with the great masters." Most of all, Ludwig wanted to meet the great composer Mozart. Ludwig got a perform for Mozart, who was amazed at his talent. In Vienna, Ludwig had a wonderful time talking to the talented people and attending concerts. He even met an important man, Count von Wolfstein. One day, the Count visited Ludwig. He found Ludwig lived in a shabby house and his room was dark. Sheets of music were all over the floor. An old piano was in the corner. "That is terrible," said the Count to himself. "He shouldn't have to use an old instrument." A few days later, a new piano was delivered. Ludwig was shocked. "I didn't order a piano. I have no money to pay for one." The delivery man explained it was a gift from the Count. People came from far and near to hear Ludwig play. "Bravo," they shouted, "encore." But then something bad happened. "It's maybe my imagination," thought Ludwig, but I don't seem to hear as well as I used to be. Eventually, at 28, Ludwig went totally deaf. Ludwig was terribly depressed. One day he realized he could hear music inside his head. He wrote it down as far as he thought of it. Some said the music he wrote after going deaf is the most beautiful music ever written. Ludwig wanted to conduct his Ninth Symphony. When he stood up in front of the orchestras, the musicians were extremely nervous. Their eyes was on him as they began to play. The music was so clear inside Ludwig's mind that he conducted beautifully. When it was over, Ludwig still stood up facing the orchestra. Then the musician turned him around to face the audience. Everyone was clapping and everyone standing and clapping. Some cheered and others wept with delight. Smiling, he said, "I write not for you, but for those who come after."
Who shall come?
Huh?
Who shall come after?
Who shall come after? In 1827, Ludwig died, but he shared a gift with the world, his glorious music.
How